September 2012. When Shayla started his Shaytamber. When he started the Shaytamber, I weighed in at 320 pounds. Was not fun. But I was learning to try to get my life in order, and there was a lot going on at the time. So I wrote up some stuff, so bear with me as I go along. First thing I needed to do was get myself organized. And when you have a goal that you want to make, you have to figure out, okay, this is how big it is, this is how long it's going to take, and then you break it down to how long, you know, like, what do I need to get done in the next year to reach this goal? Because obviously I'm not going to reach it. At 320 pounds, I'm not going to reach my goal overnight. You know, it's not going to happen. So where do I want to be in a year? And what do I need to do to get there? Then monthly, I got to figure out, okay, every month I got to make a small goal so that I can make the bigger goal by the end of the year. And then in that turn, you go figure out each week what you want to do, and then of course break it down to each day. Now I have a few things. I did have a few things to help. This is my 2014 book. This is my 2015 book. I just bought this. So I'm getting better at looking at this thing. I have a Kindle, which I have no idea where it is. It was right here. Anyway, I have a Kindle. I just learned how to use the calendar on it. And to be honest, as much as I don't like electronics, I like that, you know, that one app. And come to find out, it's connected to my Google account online, so I can get on my computer and it'll notify me when stuff's going on. So everywhere I go, there's a beep or something like that that tells me you're gonna need to look at your calendar and figure out what you got to do next. And when I'm getting ready for bed, it'll tell me, okay, you got something going on tomorrow, so I have to, you know, scroll down and say, okay, what do I need to get ready for tomorrow? So I like that, but writing things down is a good idea. I like this one better. This one is, you know, a few lines per day, so you get like a weekly type of thing going on here. This I like because it's got a daily, you know, this whole page is one day and it's got it broken down by hours. So I like that, so that way I can kind of keep track of where I need to be all the time. So I'm happy with that. One thing that is helpful now, our house is getting busy. You know, it's busier now than it was in 2012. Now I have a son who is home going to school, and so his activities sometimes interacts with whatever my activities are, so we need to kind of coordinate. My husband, poor man, his hours at work keep changing. He goes from you know, having weekends in the middle of the week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Now it's Saturday and Sunday, and instead of going to work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and coming home at 10, now he's going to work at 10 and coming home at 7 in the morning. And it's crazy, you know, and we don't know from one week to the other what his hours are going to be, and they're all over the place. And it's been making us a bit nuts trying to coordinate ourselves. So what I decided to do is get a great big calendar-like thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it up on the wall and request that everybody write down their schedules on here, so that way when we try to coordinate something that needs to get done, we have this. You know, part of it is like Michael needs my help to work on a school project, or there's a class or something that my husband and I need to go to, and we got a 2-year-old. There's a 2-year-old that needs to be babysat, so we need to coordinate that going on. It's not our 2-year-old, but there's a 2-year-old in the process. And so we're babysitting every now and then. We've got to make sure that that's covered. And when school starts, I work from home, and the majority of my work happens when school starts because I get uniforms and stuff like that I got to sew on. So that's where that is. So basically what I'm saying is try to figure out what kind of goals you want to make. I've been learning from the doctor, okay, break your weight, your weight loss down to 10%. Let's lose 10%. Let's put a time limit on it, just like the DietBet, lose 4% in a month, that kind of thing. So I try to make that my goal. It's taking me longer this year to lose weight, and I think that's just because my body has gotten used to all the stuff that I've been doing to it. So I've been having to do other stuff to try to push it along, that kind of thing. Also, on the flip side, use your calendars to try to figure out how to stay on top of what you got. You got, the normal stuff is like you're scheduling your eating habits, you're working out, you're going to schools, you're going to work, keeping the house clean, which obviously mine is not, working on it, and schedule that in, and you got your what chores do you want done on a daily basis? What chores do you need to get done on a weekly basis? What chores do you need to get done on a monthly basis? And go from there. As you know, my latest project was that desk. My father's desk was just buried in paperwork, and I had devoted 4 hours on Sunday, 4 hours on Monday, just attacking the paperwork. It took me a long time, but I finally just finished it. It was, but I finished all of my personal paperwork and all of my business paperwork. Now, when I say finished, that means the paperwork on the desk is done. It's been thrown into a box for that year. As long as that paperwork is concerned, the filing stuff, that's another project. But at least that desk is now clean of any needed paperwork that comes in on a daily basis. So now, as it comes in, I got to be mindful to get that paperwork done the day or the day after it comes in. I'm going to try to do it the day of, so that way it doesn't go anywhere or become a problem or something like that. The filing, that's another project. So as you can tell, now we are in my sewing, or in my office, and it's also my sewing room. You don't see my sewing machine. But I have dresses that I have to make. I got 3 more dresses to make. I made 4 so far. What had happened is during the flood, all of my long dresses were destroyed. All of my summer dresses, that kind of thing. And in the summer, I can't stand to have a lot of clothing on my skin because it hurts and it's uncomfortable, that kind of thing. So these summer dresses, these cute little summer dresses, as you can see, are real nice. And then when I get cold, I have a real light sweater that I put on, and I'm good to go. And if I get too warm, I can just take the sweater off. And these are super, super, super simple to make. It's just a little time consuming. So now that I got the paperwork done, next project is these dresses. And I have 3 more to go before I'm done with that project, and then I'm not even going to try to figure out what happens after that point. The other, and of course you got to also kind of schedule not just the house, but your yard, your car, your shopping. Never mind the fact that I work from home, type of thing. So I'm trying to schedule everything as it needs to be done. I know one thing I need to do is get back on the yard work. I haven't done it this year. I kind of went on a mommy strike, sort of. I just got tired of being the only one cleaning the house and the yard and all that kind of stuff, so I haven't done pretty much anything, and now my house looks like crap. I'm very frustrated with it, so now I'm trying to get back into the production of things. In my video that I showed last time, there was a cross-stitch project that I was working on for Corey and Kate. I had been working on it on a regular basis. I had taken pictures as I went along. Every few hours I would take a picture and then go on with it. And the reason why is because I want to kind of do a time-lapse type of thing with the picture to show how it got done. And then, but I still have to frame it, so I have to film that. And then I'll put it together as a video. But just so you know, the picture is done. What do you think? It's I did get to. I've met them at. I've known them. I know who they are. Saw them at VidCon when I went last year, and I said, "Corey," and I showed it to him, and he's like, and I showed it to Kate, and I was like, and then I said, my biggest thing was that they were still together when I finished it. Oh well for that. But if anything, I got a project that I can keep at home, and if Corey or Kate ever see this video and want the picture, they can just contact me and I'll let them have it. Another thing that I had to do is my husband and I, it was a real hard thing that we had to do, is changing our shopping habits from buying a lot of junk food that we don't need to buying healthier type choices. And instead of just dropping all of your, well, we're not going to eat this anymore, we're going to have this instead. And the transition would be really hard, and of course you fail every time, without a doubt. So we transitioned. We found out that I was pre-diabetic, and so I had to learn about carbs and stuff like that. So we had to learn about carbs, and what we did is we would take this ice cream, look at them and say, okay, this is so many calories and stuff, and this is so many calories, and carbs, what else do we have going on here, that kind of thing, and try to choose what is the correct thing that we're going to buy. I'm catching myself on saying things I don't want to say. The other thing that we had to learn was reading labels. For instance, this is just taco rice. You wouldn't think anything about it. A serving is 220 calories. Sodium is 620 milligrams. And it's got sugar in it. That kind of thing. This, however, is 150 for a serving, and there is no sodium. Carbs is 32. Less protein. The point is, it's better to buy something that you make from scratch versus something that you make from a processed. Basically, because of the biggest part is because of the fat content, sugar content, and salt content. You don't want those kind of things in your food unless they need to be there, like in fruit or something like that. Olives, avocados, that kind of thing have good oils. You want good oils, not bad oils. You want good fiber, not bad fiber. Something to think about. One question. Does your family work with you? Is it everybody in the family doing this together? Is it just you and you got people doing their own things? Your weight loss journey is pretty much all up to you. And sometimes you're going to have people who are not going to work with you, which is my case sometimes. My husband doesn't understand that if it has a mother, it has cholesterol. And he will look at his food and not understand why the cholesterol level is high on everything he eats. I keep trying to tell him that there's such a thing as vegetables and fruit, which has something called fiber. Just a thought. Well, that's a constant argument with us. My son he, like tonight, he gave me chicken wings, which is all well and good, except he ordered this great big thing of chicken wings and kept saying more, 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 and I'm like, I need 2 pieces. I don't want any more than 2 pieces. I ended up with 3. Pizza, pop, stuff like that. Breaking that kind of habit is really hard. I don't see it as often in there, but every now and then I do see it. Those are his choices. I have to live with that. And just like he has to live with my choices. And my husband has to live with my choices. And we have fights constantly about eating right or where to go to eat, that kind of thing. Tonight my husband wanted to eat out. I was like, we can go here for a salad, but I didn't really feel like a salad. Finally found a place that had some soup that I could have, so I had one of those little cups of soup and a slice of bread. Called it good. And I really shouldn't have had the bread, to be honest, but I was hungry, and that was the best choice I could come up with at the time that satisfied what I wanted. When you're working out, do you have somebody that works with you or against you? When I first started working out, I would constantly have people tell me, take it easy, don't push too hard, you're doing too much, you're going to hurt yourself, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get better unless I get off my butt and worked out. That was just all there was to it. My husband, he would work so far, it's like I'm trying to do about an hour's worth of work, and he would do about a half hour's worth of work, and I'm supposed to stop when he stops. Then there's my son, who's the Marine, fresh out of the Corps, big old guy, and let's just get to it, let's do it, that kind of thing, and pushes me a little bit too far. So you're trying to find that comfortable balance for yourself, and don't let others push you one way or the other. It's like you got to know what's right for you and go with that. Don't be playing any games with them. When is the best time of day to get anything done? Well, in that video I was saying 4 o'clock in the morning, which at that time was a good time. Now it's kind of crazy because, like I said, my husband's hours are all over the place, his days off are all over the place. My son's in school, and so every few months his hours are changed because of whenever the classes are, that kind of thing. I try to get my work done. Since I work at home, I try to get my work done during the time of day where I either have nobody at home or people are asleep, that kind of thing. Otherwise, I don't get anything done. And especially when you got a 2-year-old who's just wanting to constantly play and talk to you and wanting your attention, nothing's going to get done, so you have to just deal with it. Yeah, if I was working in the house, it'd be when they're asleep or when they're gone. If I was working outside, it's best to try to do it at a time where, it's like super early in the morning before the sun comes up, and then just try to follow the shade around the house. Try to get as much as I can done. The backyard is pretty good on the shading because we have big trees in the garage and stuff like that, so everything's kind of shaded through most of the day. What I was facing in 2012, I was 320 pounds. In 2002, I was in a rollover accident which affected, I ended up with a head injury and some other injuries, which affected how things worked, I guess is the way I want to say it. But then in 2009, I was actually crushed between 2 cars. I'm a pedestrian walking this way, 2 cars come along. Well, I'm standing next to one car, the other car comes along, squishes me between the 2, and don't ask me how I'm still standing, I was. because of that, and up until that point, I was working. I had a job and worked outside the house, all kinds of stuff like that. But once that happened, the doctor didn't want me going back to work because my job required me to be lifting babies and pushing carts and stuff like that, and it was not a good idea for me to be doing any of this stuff. It would be hurting me, and I could possibly hurt a baby. We didn't want that to happen. That's how the situation I kind of ended up in. And it took 3 years, it was just, 3 years before I finally got a medical release to start to work out, and that was in September. Everything kind of fell together right at that point. And I was very nervous about it and excited, but I just had to start doing something. I could feel myself dying, to be honest. I felt like I was dying because I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't do anything. And even though I'm walking around with a smile, I was miserable. And if you don't believe me, ask anyone who is more than 200 pounds overweight, 300 pounds and up. It's just miserable. You're not happy at all, and you just can't continue that way. So now was the time to start getting in gear. I got off my butt and I started moving forward. So let's get started.